And welcome back, Hornets. So nice to see y'all again, or hear y'all again. We're going to continue with our Ready Workbook Level G Lesson 9, Part 2. So if you don't have out your workbook, this is a great time to get it. You also will need out a pen or a pencil. So y'all ready to get started? Great. Remember, at any time, if I get ahead of you, you can pause the video and catch up. Other things to remember is anytime I write it down, you write it down. If I circle it, you circle it. If I put a plus or a minus next to it, you put a plus or a minus next to it. Ignore what I've got written over here because I didn't use those when I was adding our positive and negative and neutral things to what we're going to read in just a second. So with that being said, the very first thing I do is I'm going to write the title of my lesson at the top of my page, and it is Analyzing Word Meanings. And again, analyzing means to break it down. The next thing I'm going to add is when we looked at part 1, we went over 3 types of word meanings that we have, and that is technical, connotative, and figurative. Remember, technical is dealing with science and social studies and a lot of informational nonfiction texts that are being very subject area specific. Connotative is dealing with the feeling of a word. If is it positive, negative, and neutral, and how it makes the reader feel. And figurative language also deals with some of that positive, negative, and neutral tone as well, but it is using a metaphor, a simile, personification, hyperbole, idiom, or allusion in order to get across that particular tone. And speaking of tone, let's go ahead and write down our tones that we use, and that's positive, negative, and neutral. And when we're also dealing with tone, and especially connotative stuff, when I write underneath connotative, we're going to write strong or weak, because sometimes words can be strong and sometimes words can be weak. So when we're going to look at our directions, because we want to go in chronological order down our page, and it tells me that read the first 3 paragraphs of the following scientific account. Well, I want to make sure that I'm underlining first 3 paragraphs of a scientific account. And then that's going to lead me to circling the fact that you're reading a scientific account. And if something is a scientific account, I'm assuming that it is going to be nonfiction, which means it's going to be real and that it's based in science, and it's going to have a lot of technical language. Now, that technical language, still might include some connotative and figurative, because an author can include different ways to portray information. So the next thing that we're going to do according to our AHA process when we're annotating the text is to box the title. And it says, "Don't let the bed bugs bite." By the way, what kind of tone does that set just from reading the title? It tells me it's about bed bugs and don't let the bed bugs bite. And a lot of people have preconceived notions about bed bugs. So I might think it's going to be a little bit on the negative side, because bed bugs are typically pests. So I want to make sure we realize that the title itself is setting it up to be a little bit negative. All right, then the next thing we're going to do is number our paragraphs. So we have paragraph 1, paragraph 2, and paragraph, you guessed it, 3. All right. Now, the next thing we're going to do is we're going to read through our paragraphs. And as I'm reading, I want you to find words that have very strong connotations. If it's going to be positive, negative, and neutral, I want you to label those words. And we're going to come back in a little bit and see what you got. So I'm going to read to you. Please pay attention and follow along. Don't Let the Bed Bugs Bite by Nick Marcus. Bed bugs are a nuisance that spread quickly. So if you find bed bugs in your home, you owe it to yourself and others to take decisive and immediate action. The scientific name for these tiny blood-sucking insects is Cimex lecturalis. Miss Merges butchered that, I'm sorry. They're called bed bugs because they mainly feed on blood at night while their hosts are asleep. They are like an army of minuscule vampires. Places like mattresses, couches, and chairs serve as luxurious havens in which thousands of them can live. The bedbugs insert a syringe-like proboscis through the host's skin. It takes between 3 and 10 minutes for the bug to drink its fill through this slender appendage. Its bite is small and painless, so the victim rarely wakes during this feeding time. Bed bugs are not known for disseminating disease, but the bumps they leave behind can become infected. Also, the saliva they release into the skin can make you itch so badly you'll want to scratch your skin off. So the first thing I want to do is go back and look and see what words jump out. And for me, one of my first ones I see is nuisance. And for me, that's a very, you guessed it, it is negative. When I see that word nuisance, it is a very negative word. And it's going to let me know that bed bugs are kind of viewed in a negative light. I have another one that I see that jumps out at me is the word, anybody? Wonder if you got it. Okay. Oh, let's see. Come on. Click away. There we go. And it's blood sucking because the paragraph 2 says something about the scientific name, right? But instead of giving me the scientific name, they give me this word with a strong connotative, a strong negative connotation before they even give me the scientific name, which is technical. And it's the Stemex lecter. So somebody can send me a video of them saying it, and you'll get a 5 bonus points on your next quiz if you can say it correctly. Another one that I've got on here that jumps out at me as something that is either strongly positive or strongly negative when we're getting to that strong or weak connotative words is anytime that we're dealing with vampires, guys. As much as I like fantasy stuff and as cool as I think reading about those are still something that's kind of negative because they are dead and they are killing people in movies typically. So that's kind of got a negative connotation. And it really goes into that idea, that blood-sucking thing that's not good. 2 words that I do have in this paragraph that are positive. I want to see if you can find them. There's 2 words in paragraph 2 that have very positive connotations. And hopefully you found them. And the first one is luxurious. And the second one is haven. Luxurious is something rich and you really want and you really like. Haven is someplace safe. So, and it's where they can live. So that's typically something that's positive in this very negative connotative paragraph when it talks about them. Well, then I get in paragraph 3. Well, paragraph 3's got a whole lot of technical terminology, especially when you're talking about, the syringe like proboscis and what it does and why it's there. Well, but even though that's there, there's still this word syringe. Anytime Miss Murray thinks of a syringe or getting a shot, it's always negative. I don't want that. I don't like that. Then there's another one when we talk about. So there we go. So I also do have over here. So when I got to the word painless, if something doesn't hurt, if it's painless, I look at that as something positive. So, there is that it's painless and it's not hurting anybody. But then I get the next word, victim. Anytime I see the word victim, normally if you're a victim, somebody has hurt you, which is why they use that. It's usually a painless bite, but then they call them a victim, which means that they were helpless and there was a chance somebody hurt them. So the victim word for me is negative. And then I've also got, and I've got to wait for that to go away, the word disease. Guys, anytime a disease gets brought up, that's normally negative. It's not giving me good, happy impressions. It's making me feel kind of creeped out and gross. Another one is infected. That's also negative. Guys, if something gets infected and it's not treated, you could die. That's not good. That's also got a very negative connotation. And then let's see, itch. I don't know about you. Anything that makes me itch, I don't like it. I don't want it. It's got a negative connotation and it can go away. Also, the word badly has a negative connotation. Anything that's bad is negative. We don't normally want that around. And then we get our last one, which is the figurative, because you can't literally scratch your skin all the way off because your skin is very thick and it's got layers. And if you were to scratch your skin off, you would probably have to go to the hospital. It's not good. But that figurative term in and of itself is That hyperbole is negative. It's not good. We don't want to scratch our skin off. Okay. Now, we're going to go ahead and we're going to, what is your overall tone of this? Well, your overall tone of what we just read, what does the author think about bed bugs? Positive, negative, or neutral? That is right. It is very negative. It's got a very negative tone for bed bugs. It doesn't seem like it's something you want to have around. So let's go to our next one. Okay. All right. So at the bottom of our page, underneath our text, we've got our explore how to respond to the prompt. Well, the prompt says the underlined words and phrases in the passage express technical, connotative, and figurative meanings. Determine the meaning of each word or phrase as it's used in the passage. Well, the first thing we want to make sure we look at is what it's asking us. And it's asking us, it's telling us to look at the underlined words and phrases in the passage. Well, we had three. We had proboscis, victim, and scratch your skin off. And each one has got a very technical, connotative, or figurative way that the author is using those words. So then we're going to determine the meaning of each word or phrase as it's used in the passage. So the technical, we're going to circle technical, maybe. Technical word is proboscis, okay? You use context clues in the passage to figure out and describe what it means. And we're going to use the chart below to determine the meaning of proboscis. Now, proboscis, if I'm saying it wrong, correct me, send me a video, 5 bonus points for the first one to do it right. Now, the thing is that it gives us context clues. It tells us that it is syringe-like, that it can go through the host's skin and you're going to drink its fill and it's slender, okay? Those things are very important because they're letting us know what it is. So a proboscis is, and you are correct. It's kind of like a straw. That's my best way to think about it because it is drinking up your blood when it's biting you, okay? So I'm going to give you my answer, maybe. There we go. It's a sharp, straw-like structure on the bed bug's head, and it uses this to puncture the skin and drink blood. Yep, that's what that whole scientific technical word is. It means a straw that it's going to use to drink blood. Yeah, it's technical and gross at the same time. I don't know if you can actually have a technical word with a negative connotation, but I feel like that one could. Or a negative like feeling behind it. So then we're going to look at our next one. And next, you can pause me, guys, and keep your stuff and write down your things in your workbook. All right, next, consider the connotative meaning of the word victim, which the author uses to describe the person being bitten. What does the word victim suggest about the person and the bed bug? Well, I just mentioned it earlier, so go back and think about it and go back and reread that sentence in paragraph 3 with the word victim. The word victim suggests that, and you're right, it suggests, I'm jumping ahead. I forgot the tone. The tone of the word victim we already said was negative, which means that you want to make sure your answer is focusing on some negative feelings and emotions that victim would have. So the word victim suggests that the person being bitten is helpless and that the bed bug is bad or evil. Because we usually use the word victim to talk about like getting kidnapped or getting hurt or somebody not doing what you need to and you having to be at their mercy. Yeah. All right. And finally, the phrase scratch your skin off is figurative. Maybe. Touch. There we go. Now, we're going to think about the tone for this phrase as well. Is this hyperbole? Is it positive, negative, or neutral? Well, this hyperbole, which is an extreme exaggeration of how much you're going to scratch, is negative. It is not it's not a happy phrase. It should make you feel like you're going to be in pain. So what does the phrase help the reader understand about the itch caused by the bedbug bite? And you are correct. You're right. The phrase suggests how strong and painful the itch caused by the bedbug bite can be. Because that hyperbole is extreme exaggeration. It is negative and it's letting you know it's going to hurt. Now, just so you know, I'm going to show you some pictures next of bedbug bites. Okay. This top one is the life cycle of a bedbug. This is where it starts and it works its way up to to the size of the adult female. And right down here in the picture below is somebody holding in their hand, because that's their rings, the life cycle of the bedbug from the egg all the way to the adult. Yeah, just so you know, that's them. Yep. And then over here, right here, guys, is showing you in action, closer look of what it looks like based on this bed. Okay. These are bed bugs. You see these circles? These are little bitty nests of bed bugs. Yeah. Yeah, I know. It's gross. And they're hard to get rid of. Down here are bites. Some you've got little ones like this, and then you have others like these that get infected. Okay? That's what it looks like when they get infected. That one and this one down here, they're not infected. They're just so many that it looks really red and really almost kind of like hives. And then you have some of these that end up looking like, I guess they just kept right there at that one over and over and over again, and they didn't let up in one little spot. So it is possible to get all these different types of bed bug bites. Yeah. Ew. So with that, you need to make sure that you take a picture of your workbook and you attach it into your slideshow, so that way I can see it. And that will cover us for lesson 2 of, lesson part 2 of lesson 9. And you should have already read your fable before you started this one on the bedbug and the mosquito. All right. Thank you, Hornets, and I will grade you later.